I can't believe that this is real. What's going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that I honestly, I feel like I gotta pinch myself just because I am genuinely not even sure if this is gonna turn out to be true. I waited to hear from a couple of credible sources to confirm that this is going to be true for next year. And it seems like we now have a verification from multiple different sources saying that yes, indeed, next year, the LEGO group is going all out when it comes to LEGO and Spiderverse. Now, of course, before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all, please don't forget to take a quick moment and leave a like. Thank you guys so very much for your continued support here on YouTube. And without further ado, let's dive on in. So, for those of you that don't know, a little while ago, I did make a video about the fact that we were going to be getting a brand new set January 1st, which will indeed be titled Spiderverse Miles Morales versus the Spot. Now, it is a little bit overpriced, don't get me wrong, I definitely do agree with that, but I was still incredibly excited by the fact that finally the LEGO group was not ignoring quite possibly the very best Spider-Man storylines going on today. I mean, both Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse were fantastic films with a third one looming in the distance. A lot of us were scratching our heads saying, hey, LEGO group, how come you're ignoring this? There are so many cool potential products that you could make based on these movies. There are so many cool characters that appear in these movies. It is really kind of a no-brainer for LEGO to go ahead and make some Spider-Verse stuff. And for years, they weren't doing anything. January 1st, that's going to change, and we're going to be getting our official first set. Then we found out about this. Ladies and gentlemen, September 1st of 2025, which is probably the worst part about this entire video, is the fact that we're going to have to wait till September of next year. So yes, that is definitely a bummer. But on the bright side, ladies and gentlemen, Sony's Spider-Verse collectible minifigure wave. Holy moly. I mean, that is better than anything I could have even anticipated or predicted. I thought we might get a couple more sets based on the Spider-Verse side of things, but the fact that we're going to be getting an entire minifigure wave based on Spider-Verse is incredible. I mean, first of all, just think about the collection of characters that you'll be able to get for a very reasonable price. I mean, most of the time, these collectible minifigures are around $5 in the US or $4.99 in the US. Obviously, adjust that accordingly to whatever currency you might be in, but they are very, very affordable. It's a great way to get a nice collection of characters in LEGO minifigure form into your collection. So the fact that LEGO is going to be doing this sounds incredibly exciting. Now, beyond just a release date and the name of the wave, we do have an actual set number. It will be 71050, which is definitely a good sign because usually if you don't have a set number, that's usually when things get a little bit more murky and it's kind of hard to really trust that the news is true. But again, like I said, this is also reported by a bunch of different LEGO leakers. So again, when we saw one person mention this, I was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to happen. I wish it would happen, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't sure of it. But now we've had multiple people confirm that it will be happening. So that is obviously really, really exciting. Now, beyond that, we can definitely start speculating about what could be included in this particular wave. Because after all, usually when they do these collaboration waves, like last time that they did this for the Marvel Studios wave, they did include 12 characters. So I think that we're probably going to get about 12 minifigs in this particular set. And that's what we can kind of safely assume will be included. Now, of course, with that in mind, we also do need to speculate what 12 characters would make perfect sense to include here. So let's kick things off with entry number 1 and entry number 2, which are definitely not really going to be all that surprising, but my first two picks are going to be Miles Morales in his Into the Spider-Verse costume, as well as the Across the Spider-Verse costume. Now, one thing that I'm hopeful for is that they do include some really cool accessory parts to make this feel unique to this particular wave. So whether it be, let's say, maybe like a hoodie piece for the first version of Miles, or maybe some sort of like a cool effect part, I think that would be really cool to see. An unmasked as well as a masked look would be really cool too. Just something that makes it feel a little bit more premium and so that it feels a bit more unique. Oh, and of course, I do want to mention that obviously we can also possibly get an idea of what these minifigs might look like by looking over at Lego Fortnite, because from what I understand, the Lego group does get approval rights over those designs and how they appear inside of Fortnite. So if we look at Miles, that is possibly what the Lego minifig will actually look like as well. So next, we obviously have to move on to Spider-Man 2099, aka Miguel O'Hara. And I think a lot of people are going to be extremely excited about the possibility of Miguel getting an actual Lego minifig, mostly because, well, we have gotten Spider-Man 2099 before as a Lego minifig. That Lego minifig is very, very expensive now. So the fact that this is going to be a really nice and affordable way to add this version of Spider-Man into your collections is going to be quite exciting for Lego collectors. And similarly to what I mentioned with Miles, we possibly already know what this minifig will look like by once again taking a look at the design from Lego Fortnite. We then jump to the next character, which once again is a logical inclusion here, and that would of course be Peter B. Parker. Of course, a character that played a pretty major factor so far in the storyline, kind of the mentor role for Miles in those films. So I definitely would love to see the inclusion of that character. Maybe he could come with like a little May or something like that. That would be a cool, unique accessory, I guess, for Peter B. Parker to be included with.
You're clearly not Spider-Man, because I'm Spider-Man.
We haven't met yet. I'm Ghost Spider. I've been kind of tracking you.
And then, of course, another character that makes perfect sense, one that has played a major role in these animated films as well, would be Spider-Gwen, aka Ghost Spider. So, of course, that would be another really cool inclusion here. And once again, we can look over to Fortnite to get an idea of what that character might look like. So this is the point in the video where things get a little bit more exciting, because I feel like all the other characters we've talked about so far are kind of like no-brainers. Of course, they're going to be included in this wave, whereas these next ones I think are going to be a lot more, not divisive, but I think some people will probably say, hey, I prefer this character or that character, which is kind of what makes it a lot more of a fun discussion.
My name is Professor Prabhakar.
That's right, we're going with Spider-Man India for the next pick. I think this could honestly be the best minifig in the entire wave if they go the extra mile and do really all the cool intricacies of his costume and do it justice in terms of like really cool paint applications for the designs. I think this could definitely be one of those minifigs that would be the most highly sought after once this set does retire. And speaking of another character that would 100% be very highly sought after, that would of course be Spider-Punk. I mean, the inclusion of a really cool guitar effect and maybe some sort of cool like electric blast or something like that behind him, I think would be absolutely a no-brainer. And once again, I think this would be a very, very popular minifig to be included. Now, I think this next one is probably going to be somewhat controversial, because I think some people are going to say they don't want this to be included as an actual minifig and they would prefer for it to just be like an accessory with another character. But I'm going to go with Spider-Ham. I think Spider-Ham with a really cool like mallet accessory with some nice print work on it would be very, very fun. I think that a Spider-Ham minifig would be cool. And in addition to that, I think it would just be really fun in the sense that they could probably include some really cool accessories to go along with this one to make it feel more quote unquote worth it. The next pick is a character that we don't know too much about inside of the Spider-Verse films, but if you're a Spider-Man fan, it's kind of a no-brainer to select to appear on this list. And that would, of course, be Scarlet Spider, aka Ben Reilly Spider-Man. We have gotten Scarlet Spider before, I think actually multiple times. That minifig has also gotten quite expensive now, so I think people would be happy to have this quote-unquote re-release. Now, beyond just the Spider-Verse movies, we know that we're going to be getting a Spider-Man Noir live-action series starring Nicolas Cage. So I feel like the popularity of the character will probably continue to trend upwards. So it makes perfect sense to go ahead and include Spider-Man Noir as part of this wave as well. So if you've been keeping track, you would know that this next entry is number 11, aka the second to last entry, which is when things start to get a little bit more difficult in terms of decision making of what to include and what to cut. And I really could not decide between these two, so maybe you could help me, but it really comes down to the Kingpin. After all, it would be incredible if they included an actual big fig in this. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but maybe even if they did like a brick built Kingpin, it would be kind of funny to be included as part of this particular wave. I don't know if that's likely, but the other option I have is Vulture. And I know you might say, well, how are they going to do the wings? They wouldn't include that. But if you look back on their last Marvel Studios Wave series, when they did the Captain America Sam Wilson design, they did include the wing. So I don't see why they couldn't include a very similar kind of simplistic build for Vulture as well. Plus, he looked really, really cool in Across the Spider-Verse. And last but certainly not least, that's right, just like the conclusion of Across the Spider-Verse, we're going with Prowler Miles Morales. I mean, come on, that is just a no-brainer. If they do this one right, again, this could be one of those all-time great minifigs. If they give us like really cool oversized gauntlets for the fists and everything, that would be incredible. They really could do an excellent job for this minifig. Would it be cool if they included the original Prowler instead? Sure, but I would much rather if we went with the design that we saw for Miles, because I just think aesthetically speaking, it's a much cooler looking costume that I would love to see translated into Lego minifigure form. So there you go. I told you guys that this one is exciting, and I think that it truly is. I cannot wait for September to arrive to add these to my collection. Of course, in addition to all of that, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, please don't forget to leave a like. Let me know your list and your prediction for the 12 characters that you would love to see included as part of this minifigure wave. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, guys.